This food has more protein than eggs. Prevents sarcopenia after 60 naturally. What if I told you there's a simple, affordable food sitting quietly in your fridge right now? One that actually contains more muscle-preserving protein than an egg and could help you fight off the muscle loss that sneaks up after 60. This isn't about looking younger. It's about staying strong enough to get out of a chair without effort, to climb the stairs without grabbing the rail, to maintain balance, energy, and independence. The truth is, muscle loss, or sarcopenia, doesn't begin at 60. It quietly starts as early as your 30s, and by the time you reach your 60s, you could have already lost up to 20% of your muscle mass without even realizing it. And it doesn't just slow you down. It affects your metabolism, your blood sugar, even your brain health. And while you may be doing everything right, eating well, staying active, sleeping enough, you could still be losing muscle every year if you're not giving your body the right protein at the right time, in the right form. That's where today's discovery comes in. A humble food, richer in leucine than eggs, that helps turn on your body's muscle repair switch, known as the mTOR pathway, and keeps it active while you sleep. Stick with me till the end, and you'll leave with a clear, science-based plan built around this everyday food and a couple of smart timing tweaks to help you stay strong, steady, and independent well into your 70s and beyond. No guesswork, just one powerful shift that can change how you age, starting tonight. If someone asked you to name a protein-rich food, chances are you'd say eggs. And you'd be right. They're affordable, easy to prepare, and packed with nutrients. A single large egg delivers about 6 grams of high-quality protein, rich in essential amino acids your body needs. But here's the part most people miss. When it comes to protecting your muscles overnight, eggs fall short. That's because egg protein is absorbed quickly. It's great if you've just exercised and need rapid repair, but far less effective when your body enters its longest fasting window, the hours between dinner and breakfast. You may not think of sleep as an active time, but biologically it's when repair should happen. The problem is, your body still needs amino acids to do that repair. And if it doesn't get enough, it quietly starts breaking down muscle instead. That's where cottage cheese steps in. A half-cup serving of low-fat cottage cheese provides 14 grams of protein, more than 2 eggs. And what makes it truly powerful is the type of protein it contains. Casein. Casein digests slowly, releasing a steady stream of amino acids into your bloodstream for up to 7 hours. It's like giving your muscles a gentle, steady supply of fuel while you sleep. This slow-release effect helps prevent nighttime muscle breakdown, also known as catabolism, and instead supports muscle protein synthesis, the process of repair and growth that's especially important as we age. A study published in Frontiers in Nutrition in 2019 found that men in their 70s who consumed 40 grams of casein protein before bed experienced a significant increase in overnight muscle protein synthesis, even without any changes to their daily routine. The researchers concluded this higher dose was enough to overcome the age-related resistance to muscle repair that naturally develops after 60. That's why cottage cheese isn't just a snack. It's a strategic tool. When you eat it 30 to 60 minutes before sleep, you're giving your body the exact signal it needs to shift from muscle loss mode into recovery mode. Try this simple protocol: half to 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese, 14 to 28 grams of slow-digesting, leucine-rich protein. Add a sprinkle of cinnamon, a few walnuts, or a teaspoon of honey for taste and extra nutrients. Eat it after a long day or a workout, and let your body rebuild itself while you rest. Worried about lactose? Many brands now offer lactose-free cottage cheese, And casein protein isolate is also a viable option if dairy doesn't sit well with you. But the real key isn't the brand, it's the timing and the type of protein. Because when your evening nutrition aligns with your body's natural recovery rhythms, you're not just sleeping, you're rebuilding. But the benefits of cottage cheese go even deeper. Because inside that same slow digesting protein is something incredibly important, an amino acid called leucine. And leucine isn't just another building block, it's a signal. Eating protein doesn't mean your body will instantly build muscle. It needs a clear signal first. And that signal is leucine. Leucine turns on a special process in your cells called mTOR, which tells your body it's time to repair and grow stronger. Without enough leucine in a meal, that switch may never fully turn on, especially as you get older. And that's what most people don't know. As we get older, it becomes harder for the body to turn on muscle repair. What worked in your 30s or 40s might not work anymore. Two people might eat the same amount of protein, but only one gets results. Why? Because only one of them got enough leucine to trigger that repair. Most research suggests you need around 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal to fully activate muscle protein synthesis. And 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese? It delivers about 2.6 grams, right in that optimal range. That makes it more than just a good source of protein. It makes it a targeted tool for older adults, one that works in harmony with your body's changing biology. A study in the Journal of Nutrition found that leucine-rich meals boosted muscle repair compared to lower leucine meals, even when the total amount of protein was the same. So it's not just about eating more, it's about giving your body the right kind of protein with the right amino acids at the right time so that all the systems involved in repair and strength actually respond. That's why a single cup of cottage cheese before bed can be more powerful than a high-protein dinner that's low in leucine. Because at the end of the day, what matters most is whether your body gets the right signal to start rebuilding muscle. Not just how much protein you eat, but even with the right protein, there's still one piece many people overlook, and it might be the most important of all, because muscle building isn't just about what you eat, it's also about when you eat it. Your body follows a rhythm, not just when it sleeps, but when it heals. Just like your energy changes throughout the day, your ability to absorb and use nutrients changes too. And for your muscles, those windows of opportunity are surprisingly specific. After resistance training, the body becomes more sensitive to protein. Early in the day, your metabolism is more responsive. And at night while you sleep, your body enters its longest fasting window, which makes it the most fragile time for your muscles if they're not supported. Most people unintentionally work against this rhythm. They eat little to no protein at breakfast, something modest at lunch, and then finally load up at dinner. But by that point, the muscle-building machinery is no longer fully active. And when there are long gaps between meals, especially without slow-digesting proteins in the evening, the body begins to break down more than it builds. A 2020 review in the Journal of Nutrition showed this clearly. People who consume the same amount of daily protein but spread it more evenly across their meals had better muscle retention over time. Not because they ate more, but because they gave their body what it needed when it was ready to use it. And the most overlooked moment of all? Right before bed. That's when your body prepares for deep repair. Not just in your brain, but in your muscle tissue. But it can't do that well if it's missing the building blocks. That's why eating a slow-digesting, leucine-rich protein in the evening, like cottage cheese, can have such a powerful effect. It gives your muscles steady support through the night, right when they'd usually be running low. And that's the key. It's not just about eating enough protein during the day. It's about giving your body what it needs, at the time it needs it most. So what does it actually look like to eat in a way that protects your muscles, not just today, but for years to come? It starts with something simple: consistency. Not extreme changes, not complicated plans, just a quiet rhythm of meals that speak to your biology. Imagine your day built around 3 steady meals. Not rushed snacks, not guesswork, but real nourishing food. At breakfast, your body is just waking up and it's ready for fuel. A meal with enough protein early on sends a clear message: rebuild, don't break down. Then comes lunch. Another opportunity to keep that message going, to keep your system supplied with what it needs to stay in balance. And at dinner, you round out the day with a third dose of high-quality protein, not overloaded, but just enough to keep your body supported as it winds down. But perhaps the most important moment isn't one of those main meals at all. It's the quiet window right before sleep. That's when you give your body one final message: that it's safe to rest and strong enough to repair. And that message comes in the form of a slow, steady release of amino acids. 1 cup of cottage cheese taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed does exactly that. It supports the entire night's recovery process, not just for muscles, but for hormones, blood sugar, and even the brain. There's nothing radical about this rhythm. In fact, it feels natural. Because it's not about trying to fight aging with more effort. It's about working with your body, not against it. Providing the right fuel at the right moments with intention, instead of rushing through the day and hoping for the best. When you eat this way, spaced out, balanced, and aligned with your body's internal clock, you don't just feel stronger. You feel steady, clear, more like yourself again. And that's what real progress feels like. But strength doesn't stop at your muscles, because what's happening in your body is deeply connected to what's happening in your mind. The two aren't separate, they work together. And when you support one, you support the other in ways that may surprise you. You probably think building muscle is just about strength, about getting up from a chair more easily or walking longer without getting tired. And yes, those things matter, but there's something else at stake, something far more surprising: your brain. Research over the past decade has uncovered a powerful connection between the muscles in your body and the neurons in your brain. And it goes far beyond movement. When your muscles are active, especially when they're maintained through proper nutrition, they act like tiny factories, releasing compounds that travel through your bloodstream and influence your brain directly. One of the most important is called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's often described as fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps grow new neurons, strengthen existing ones, and improve communication between brain regions responsible for memory, mood, and focus. But here's the catch: BDNF levels decline as we age. And if your muscles are shrinking, as they do with sarcopenia, your body has fewer of these little factories working to support your brain. That's why low muscle mass in older adults is now being linked to increased risk of cognitive decline, dementia, and even depression. In fact, several studies have shown that older adults with higher muscle mass tend to have better memory, faster thinking, and more emotional resilience. Not because they're working out like athletes, but because their muscles are still talking to their brains. And it's not just about mood and memory. When your muscles are strong, they do something quietly incredible. They act like a shield, protecting you from the chronic inflammation and blood sugar swings that wear the body down over time. Let's start with inflammation. Most people think of inflammation as something visible: a swollen joint, a sore throat. But inside your body, low-grade inflammation can quietly smolder for years without obvious symptoms. And it's now linked to nearly every age-related condition we fear most: heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and even some cancers. Here's where muscle plays a surprising role. Muscle tissue isn't just for movement. It produces anti-inflammatory compounds that help keep the silent fire in check. But as you lose muscle, your body's ability to regulate inflammation weakens, and the damage starts to build. That's why researchers now see muscle mass not just as a marker of fitness, but as a direct reflection of long-term health. And when it comes to blood sugar, muscle might be your most powerful ally. See, muscle is the largest site for glucose disposal in the body. It acts like a sponge, soaking up sugar from your bloodstream and helping keep insulin levels stable. But if you lose muscle, or don't give your existing muscle what it needs to stay active, that sponge shrinks. Blood sugar stays elevated longer. Insulin resistance creeps in, and that's when the risks start multiplying. Type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, vascular damage. It all becomes more likely when muscle mass drops. But the good news? You don't need a gym membership or intense workouts to make a difference. You just need to protect what you already have and feed your muscles the way they need to be fed. Because when you do, you're not just getting stronger, you're building a quieter, more stable body from the inside out. So yes, it's just a small change. A cup of cottage cheese before bed might not sound like much, but over time, it can mean the difference between waking up feeling weak or steady on your feet, between losing strength slowly or quietly, rebuilding it each night. Because staying strong after 60 isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things, gently, consistently, and with your long-term health in mind. It's not about pushing harder, it's about nourishing smarter. And sometimes the simplest habits, like a quiet bowl of cottage cheese before bed, can do more for your strength, balance, and independence than any supplement or trendy routine ever could. If you'd like more calm, science-based guidance like this, don't forget to subscribe. Each week, I share practical health tips to help you stay strong, clear, and independent, one simple step at a time. And let me know in the comments, do you already eat cottage cheese at night? Or is this a new habit you're thinking of trying? Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.